Here's a quick box Prime 9 unboxing. And I'm pretty excited about it because it's a drivetrain that I haven't worked with before. So we've got cables, sticker, which is nice. Okay, we've got, I don't know what this is, not labeled. Shifter. All right, let's take the sucker out. Very nice. It's got a split clamp, which is nice because you can get it over the handlebars really well. We've got a rear derailleur. And it's a pretty sharp derailleur. Let's see what the tension's like. That's a pretty stiff clutch, which is good. Something that I find not strange, different. It has the big pulley down here, but it has an old school small pulley up top. I'm not sure why they went with that. Most companies use the big pulleys front and rear, not, yeah, top and bottom now. You can hear the springs. That's actually kind of funny. And we have a chain. I think the chain is black. I won't open that. And here is the cassette. Let me get that out and I'll show it to you. Well, it's actually really nice. It's an all steel cassette. You know, they say it's like 600 grams, but I can honestly say it doesn't feel super heavy by any means. Really nice spider. And yeah, it's a pretty gorgeous looking cassette. And here's the unboxing part. Now let's get to setting it up on the bike. First thing we're going to do is let's get the cassette on. The cassette comes out of the box with the last cassette on the back, so you got to pop that apart. Boom. Take the wheel off next. And I will pull the quick release off. That's how old my bike is. It has a quick release. That's where I'm at right now. The next time I pause the camera, I'm going to go get my glasses. Let's see how lucky we get with this one. This is probably an 11 or 12 speed free hub body. It's a Hope Pro 4. Yeah, on this system this might not happen. With your free hub body, it might just go on and work perfect. I do like those little arrows. And if that spacer doesn't do it, then I'm going to have to start getting creative. I think that's the one. Where I think it's this one right there. Oh, yeah. We're in. Get a wrench, tighten that sucker up. I think it says like 11 Newton meters on the lock ring, but I don't have 40 Newton meters. And I have never used a torque wrench on a cassette body. 40 sounds really high. All right. Now it's time to get around the bike. Get the quick release skewer into the wheel. Someday I'll have multiple cameras, set them all up, all good angles. But for now, this is what we got. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, she looks good. Let's slide the sucker in because we are going to mount the rear derailleur. This rear derailleur, I mean, it looks amazing. But yeah, it's amazingly light for the extra weight of the cassette. This feels very light. So it looks like I'll need a 5mm, which I have an Allen wrench set laying around here. Comes pre-set up with some Loctite on it, which is nice. I have found that these do not need to be super locked down. This part here is where the clutch pack is, and you can adjust the tightness. So if you want a lighter action shifter, you can reduce the spring tension on this. But if you want your chain to not bounce as much, you can actually increase it too. The tighter the clutch is, the more friction on the shift paddles there are, but you'll get less chain slap. Now the box chain, which I didn't take out of the box. It's probably the first black chain I've ever owned. I've had all sorts of dark browns. This is the first. They say it's some sort of coating. I'm going to say, I don't think it's painted. It's definitely not painted. But it is kind of impressive. It's not even that heavy of a chain. Let me unravel this. This 9-speed chain is different than most because most of your 1x systems are 10, 11, 12 speed. But I guess you're not going to be able to see it because of the black color. But they peen the edges where my finger is here. So it's a 9-speed chain width, but the inside has the dimensions of a narrower chain. That way it goes over the chain ring better, and it keeps it from sliding off. That is what they say. I probably should have slid it in from the front, but I got lucky. There we go, there we go. It's almost time to adjust the stop, but first we'll get the chain tension. And I'm going to slide that back, hopefully to a point where so we can get a good viewpoint. The idea is when you pull the chain tight and the chain is straight like this, you want this to just be breaking into its clutch, like about there. Of course, if you come farther to meet the chain together, you'll have tighter tension, but the derailleur will bind more. And first thing I'm going to do is adjust the stop so I can get it into the smallest gear, and then I'm going to pull the chain together and figure out what distance we need. So I'll get my chain tool ready, and for now I'll just boom. I will attempt to find my small Allen wrenches, and that I'm going to pause the camera for, and I'm going to go get my glasses. I can see again. All right, I got one of my favorite folding Allen wrenches. It's so worn out, I need to sharpen every single one of these Allen wrenches. It's what I'm used to. It may be a little trickier to work with all the folds, but I have all the sizes with me. There we go. And now, so basically you want the two male links. There's an inside link and an outside link. Because we have a quick link that came with it, we want to mate up. So I will go one more chain link because that's tight, but it's not really pulling this. So that would mean right there, that one. Takes care of that. Now let's find that quick link that I said I'm going to put right here so I know right where it is. Of course I don't know where it is. Quick link. What I'm looking at from the back, which is hard to see on camera, is the chain is really close to my frame. I think it's actually rubbing on. So that spacer I put behind the cassette might be a hair thick, but I can always remove it and stick it underneath the lock ring to move the chain over. And I might do that. Let's get it on, and we will go from there. I can get it all mostly set up, and then I can't pull it together with my hands, but if I'm careful, okay, it's right there, pinching it together, and there you go. Okay. And so now I need to set the high stop, and I need to set the B tension screw. So I can already tell that this pulley is going to hit in, so I'm going to screw this in. And I'm just going to pull back on this. That way I'm not fighting the screw and stripping things out. Okay, and by pushing out of my thumb and pedaling. Now I'm actually pushing hard with my thumb because I want to see if I can get it to shift over, and it will shift over into the spokes. So I know that the low limit screw needs to go in. Try that again. Yeah, see, I can push that pretty hard. And it's riding up a little. So I'll go just about another quarter of a turn. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's not going to go into the spokes now. But the pulley is still too close to the cog. Anywhere 5, 7, 8 millimeters. Usually what I go by is I like to have a full link and part of a half link distance. That way when you're shifting, you're not binding the chain. Some derailleur systems work way better the closer they are and be more crisp. Other ones have an issue with it. And but most of the wide range cassettes I've seen on the market, there's quite a bit of gap. See how it's riding over? Okay. We'll just tighten that up a little bit more. I think I got it this time. Yeah, the chain's rubbing up on the side, so I'm going to have to do something about it. But what I will do first is get the cable and the shifter on. Yeah, those Hope hubs sure do roll nice. Let me reposition the bike and the camera, and we'll get the shifter on. Yeah, this shifter looks amazingly nice, and doesn't really feel cheap or plasticky. I thought that it was going to have a slide-on clamp, so I took my grip off and loosened up the brake levers. It's a nice thing when you can. Yeah, just flex it over or open a clamp and I think this might be matchmaker compatible too. It looks like this thing comes off. I'm not sure how it comes off, but I'm looking at it. Looks like there's a set screw. But makes that really easy. And once it's on the ground, I'll play with this angle, that angle. But for now, something like that'll work. Here's the cable end. Comes with a nice slick cable. You know, Shimano's tend to come with really good cables, so do SRAMs. But it's understandable when an inexpensive drivetrain like this. This isn't an inexpensive drivetrain in general, it's just that they're on sale and I got it for a very good price. And where's the cable end? I don't want to crease anything or kink anything. There it goes. Yeah, I could have done that a lot more gracefully, that's for sure. Ta-da! From the box, there's just a slight kink here. I'm just gonna be anal. It probably wouldn't matter much. And it came with cables, a couple cable ferrules, pretty much everything you need. If I need to, then I'll tear it all apart. I doubt I'm going to need to. This knuckle here stays straight as the chain moves, so you got to make sure that there's a nice, same thing, you want the cables to come in straight. In other words, you don't want this creased like this. You want to reduce the friction. So this side has to come up straight. So because of where my stop is, there's going to be an extra bend. So it's going to look something like that. And because I know I'm going to have to play, I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch. And that way, if I have to shorten it, I will. I really like the cable housing that came with it because I know on a lot of SRAM, Alligator, what's the other company? Yeah, I forget the name, but a lot of times when you snip them, it mushes the plastic. This plastic stays open after you cut it, which is, I don't know if that's better quality or worse quality, but sure is nice from a mechanic standpoint. See, because if I have to adjust the B-tension screw, then this moves, so I want to make sure that I have just a little bit of space. That's coming out really wide. I'm definitely going to have to take some off. And go 1/4 of an inch. I'd rather snip it 3 times than have it too short and waste the cable. Yeah, I'm really quite impressed with this cable and how smooth it is. At the time of this video here, I'm pretty sure this was like a $400 and something system, $300 and something system, and they were blowing them out for $150. So when I saw that, it was like, oh yeah, I need to get that. Boom, boom. Folding Allen wrenches. I found them quick this time. I'm feeling lucky. Now, first thing I want to do is come over to the barrel adjuster, which probably isn't on the camera. I want to make sure the barrel adjuster is all the way in on the shifter. Maybe leave a 1/4 turn, 1/2 turn. That way if I need to dial back. It's got a sliding washer. It needs to go under, but it's kind of stuck in there. So I will find a little screwdriver, a pick, and just open that sucker up. I might have to take it all the way off to pop that out, because the tolerances are tight on that thing, I guess. yeah, the little washer was definitely jammed in there good. All right, let me reposition that, tighten it in. It's got a certain shape that fits into the derailleur, which keeps it from spinning. So it's actually a pretty good idea. Although a round washer would have been cheaper and I wouldn't have had to fight with it. There's a torque spec for this. I should read the book. But for now, we'll do that. And I'm going to expect some bind because the chain rubs on the frame. Nope. Actually, even though it's not indexing right because I got to get the cable right, I'm turning the barrel adjuster and tightening the cable. I was expecting the shifting to be a lot harder. Still a little loose. Well, hell, on the stand, that is shifting nice. Alright, let me get it all the way to the top again. A little bit of overshift. That's actually not a bad thing. I can come back on the cable. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the length between a full outer plate and then the inner plates. And like I said, I like to make sure that, that I have that distance. That way when I shift it, it comes over the teeth and off the teeth. I can actually come back a little bit. I can actually tighten that bead tension screw and it should be a little smoother, at least going up the cogs. 1, 2, let's try that. Oh yeah, that's nice. I think I read that somewhere, because while I've been waiting for this, I've been all over watching YouTube videos, and on this drivetrain, I think they say 5 to 7 millimeter gap between the teeth. I do it old school way, and I do it by the chain links, and works for me. I can actually make this cable shorter if I want, but it's not horrible now that I know that this is set there. And I got my cable tension right. You hear the rub. I gotta do something with that spacer. I think we got it. Oh, there we go. I'll pull the camera off and show you what I mean about the spacer on the small cog. And having to get the perfect spacer for the back of the cog. Focus. Yeah, see, it's rubbing on the frame. So I do have a spacer behind it. But when I take that little spacer out, there's a lot of slop when I tighten. So basically, I just need to find a thinner spacer. Like I said, the free hub body that comes on this is, yeah, see, that's a pretty good looking derailleur right there. Yeah, the free hub body that comes on the Hope is made for your 11s and 12 speeds. And this is a 9-speed system. So I was expecting to have a spacer. I was expecting the company to throw one in the box. But they didn't. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a matter of me searching through my stuff. And there is the shifter. And this is what I mean about the quarter turn clicks. Focus. See, it's got little clicks and they're very tight and they're solid. A lot of anybody that's adjusted one of these before knows there's a lot of them that have quarter turns and they're very, yeah, they work fine. It's just this one here, you could be a little bit more precise with your adjustments. And yeah, I can get my cable cutter, make it about that long, put a cable end in it, and now the fun stuff. I get to go searching through boxes and boxes of parts until I find a thinner spacer. Hopefully this drivetrain works out well. I'm excited about test riding it this weekend. I tend to be a weekend warrior. I mean, of course, I'll ride it around the parking lot, but we will get this thing dialed in, get it on the trail, and have some fun. If you like what you see, click like, subscribe. I found the right size spacer. If you were to go back in the video, you will see that the spacing that I had here was off. I actually took the spacer that was meant for behind and put it in here. When the cassette came, I put everything in the order that came out of the box. But yeah, it was right there. And I dropped it in. Let's see if I can't get in there. That's hard to see. Maybe if I come back here. It's actually a black spacer, so it's hard to see. There you go. And yes, it does look like there's a tight, a little bit tighter gear back here. But here's the funny thing is I had the spacer in the wrong spot, and this thing's still indexed up and down really good. So I'll take that as a good omen. It, you can see I definitely have room now between the frame and the cog. I did have to reset the stops. I didn't have to set the B tension screw. That was already, there it is. I didn't have to reset that. That's good. And I just had to tweak the cable tension a little because the whole thing was shifted over this way. And back to shifting perfect. All right, be looking for a ride review. Time to take it for a test ride. Shifts crisp. Cannot bitch about that one bit.